Now, types of paths of respiration. The initial phase, if glucose is started in the respiration, so if we take up the substrate as glucose in respiration, then it breaks down into pyruvate. Then it looks for oxygen, molecular oxygen. If it is available, then it is informed. Then it is taken to the mitochondria. And if molecular oxygen is not available in the cell, then it is not allowed to enter into the mitochondria. Then the end product will be here within the cytoplasm. The path will end here. And maybe formation of ethanol or lactate or some other things. That is known as anaerobic respiration. So aerobic or anaerobic, depending on the participation of the molecular oxygen, and will be known as two types of paths. So aerobic and anaerobic respiration. I would like to make once aerobic respiration. The important point is here, do not write simply oxygen, but write molecular oxygen. That's important. Simple oxygen may lead to some misleading idea. The respiration that occurs in the presence of molecular oxygen, because it takes part at the end of this respiration in this process. So aerobic respiration. There are some organic substances having oxygen. They can take part also in the respiration, but they are not aerobic respiration. There are different types of anaerobic respiration. Oxygen containing organic substance can take part in the respiration, but these are anaerobic respiration, not aerobic respiration. When we talk about aerobic respiration, that must be guided by the molecular oxygen. This is important. Now, another one is, we have to again go for our thing, what we stated about earlier, 38 ATP. So ATP is generated this way. In the whole process, step by step, ATP is generated. Mostly ATP is generated at the end process. I would also like to mention that process. So it occurs in all higher plants and animals. In higher plants and animals, higher organisms, in the higher fungi. But in the lower type of organisms, we don't find like that. We don't find like that. I would like to point out this. Do you like to say anything? 10A, 10B. Do you like to raise any question? No. So these are aerobic respiration, and then to passing to aerobic respirations occurs in 3 steps. Generally, we say 3 steps. Some scientists used to make it 4. I would also like to mention that. Sometimes they used to do it, they prefer 4 steps. First is glycolysis. Lysis means breakdown. Lysis means breakdown. It takes part in cytosol. Krebs cycle takes part in the matrix of the mitochondria. And then the last part, if we take up 3 steps, electron transport chain in Christie. If we take up the electrons transport chain should be divided a little less, and then last part should be taken up as the oxidative phosphorylation part. That is the last part of the aerobic respiration. We can also and you can schematically draw this way. We can have 2 ATP at the beginning, though we have to put 2 ATP at that time, and net we will get 2 ATP. Next time, Krebs cycle generally give you 2 ATP, and all other things will be given to the electron transport chain, and for the last lap, and that time only we will get 34 ATP. That is only oxidative phosphorylation path. If molecular oxygen is available, only we can find this type of steps. Now we would like to have a little idea about the scientist. Hans Krebs, behind this Krebs cycle. Krebs cycles are known by several other names, like citric acid cycle. 10B, can you say any other name for? So we would also like to pass through. We should know the name. So Krebs cycle, discovering that we generally honor scientists with some award. Here, Nobel Award or Nobel Prize is awarded to him, physiology or medicine, in 1953. There are 6 Nobel Prizes. Alfred Nobel started 5, one afterwards by Swiss Bank. So 5 by physics, 1 in chemistry, 1 in medicine or physiology, 1 in peace, and 1 in literature. These 5 instituted by Alfred Nobel, and 1 is in economics later on. So Hans Krebs, so these are the things. Now, what is ATP? I would like to know what is ATP. So what is ATP? One is left side is the chemical structure, and right side is the model. So adenosine triphosphate, three things are there. Adenine is the nitrogen base. In chemistry, you learn about the acid and base. Sometimes questions are asked, can you name one organic base? So this is here, one organic base. Adenine, so adenine, then ribose, one sugar, and triphosphate, 3-phosphate. So 3-phosphate is there. So 3-phosphate. So what is ATP? Adenosine triphosphate, and this is the important things known as energy currency. These 3-phosphate bonds are very important. These 3-phosphate groups are tied together, then energy is required. If you remove one after another, then cell gets the energy. So that's why this group is required. Phosphate chemical bonds. So chemical bonding required, together high energy bond. After breaking down, we get, or all cell get, ADP plus PI, and every small packets of energy is 7.3 kilocalorie. Every breakdown will provide that. So ATP providing 7.3 kilocalorie when it is broken down into ADP plus PI, phosphate, inorganic. This is the way to know. Now, how is ATP used? Another also important thing, what is the need to generate ATP? Should all cells generate ATP? ATP is generated because if whole energy is released at a time from the glucose, cell cannot utilize it. Cell will, only the temperature will go high and cell may burn also. Cell requires energy step by step, at a time small. So that is important. We have to take money in order to purchase smaller things in the market. So we have to have smaller coins. We feel if you can purchase it different shops, different articles. So here it is the same thing. So how is ATP used? ATP is broken down, as we mentioned earlier, chemical works over, energy is given, 1 phosphate at a time, and others are sometimes, and partly it is also unusual one, because heat energy always generated. So heat energy is always generated. Here also the same thing. Where ATP is utilized, synthesizing molecules. Many molecules are required for growth and many metabolic activities. Required for transport to work, active transport, taking ions against the gravity, against the gradient. Suppose root, here cells require more sodium inside, but sodiums are outside less number, so you have to drag it. So by utilizing energy. So this is known as active transport, where energy is utilized. Endocytosis, exocytosis, these are the movements. Endocytosis is taking something inside the cell. Exocytosis, expelling things from inside to out. mechanical work like muscle contraction, cilia, flagella movement, and organelle movement. So mostly these are the things where we find energy is required, and ATP is the best way to utilize. How is ATP used here mentioned? It is important. Why should you not develop that? So how is ATP used? By this way you can utilize this one. How is ATP utilized? This important thing to know. So these are the features here behind this. Why use ATP energy and not energy from glucose? As I mentioned earlier, not wholly of the glucose. If you burn glucose, if you burn a biscuit, so the biscuit generates the energy, the same amount when you take as a food, and it is taken inside the alimentary canal, then it is digested, and then it is taken to the cell, the digested part. The cell also generates the same amount of heat inside. So the biscuit can generate the whole energy at a time if you burn it, and the same energy generated, and that is kept inside the ATP. The difference is ATP can be utilized at time to time and in a smaller way. And every occasion you require ATP. So that is the thing here. In every occasion in cell, they want ATP, smaller way, and that is not also creating the higher temperature. Otherwise, it may be harmful for the cell also. Cell wants to get one specific type of energy. In human body, we are having 37 degrees Celsius. Why? Because human body can best use the components, have the biochemical reactions favorable at this temperature. So when there is an infection, then what body takes care of, try to raise the temperature. So in that temperature, foreign bodies also cannot work, foreign organisms cannot work properly. So by that way, the human body can also protect itself, so raising the temperature. So 37 degrees Celsius is the optimum temperature where biochemical reactions can go on inside the human body. So that's why human body tries to keep one stable temperature. That's why homeothermic, keeping one stable temperature inside the body. One glucose contains 686 kilocalorie in mole terms. We have to go for that. ATP releasing 7.3 kilocalorie, and one glucose can produce 38 ATP. So in case of numericals, you have to work with this.